What's up, everybody? Norm Baker here today to talk about um, what is going to drive the investments or the investing that we've been talking about for so many weeks. So, to recap, in the past, the last few weeks, last few videos, we've been talking a lot about stocks, the stock market, what it is, how to calculate it, um, who are the players, and how to participate. Okay. Now we're going to focus in on building that 10% that we've been talking about, right? 10% of $50,000, 5,000 over 35 years, compounded at 9.6% interest will get you $1 million on average if you got 9.6% on average. We know the average is not going to be 9.6. It's not going to be 9.6 every year, but if you average it out over a longer period of time, it's around 9.6. Over a 30-year period, 10% of 50,000 will get you $1 million, right? We know that. How do you get the 10% to get to the 50 of the 50,000 to get to $1 million? How do you get it, right? So what we're going to talk about today in brief, and then we're going to break it down in other videos, is the overall driving force to get the 10%. So most of us will think that uh, this driving force is simple, and it is. The concept is simple, but the application and the habits that we need to create is really what financial coaching is all about. Okay, so what I'm talking about is a budget. When I talk about a budget, I'm not talking about, if I asked you what your budget was, it's not, I think I make around $50,000 and my rent slash mortgage is about 2,000, 2,500 a month, that kind of thing. No, that's not a budget. That is not a budget. A budget is written down every bill you have, written down, or figuratively speaking, written down, meaning it can be an Excel or a spreadsheet, but somewhere where it's tangible. You can touch it, you can see it. This is the budget. These are my bills for the month. This is when they're due in the month, and this is how much I bring in after tax every month or every 2 weeks or every week, however often you get paid. It needs to be in the budget, right? We need real numbers. Why? Because we're going to build our financial life on this budget. Just as if you were to build a house, the you need the blueprint, or the architecture needs the blueprint first. He can't just go out with bricks and solder and wood and figure it out as he goes or wing it. No, you need an architectural blueprint to start. Same with a budget, right? So we need that written down. Number one. Once you write it down, and this is something that this is kind of the crux of what I do for people. So if you want me to help you with this, reach out to me and I'll help you. But after we get that budget built, there's a few things that we need to do and make sure we do as we're building this investment vehicle, this tool to make us all millionaires, right? There's a few things. Number one, we need what we call an emergency fund. What an emergency fund is an amount of money that's not invested in anything. It's as close to cash as possible. When I say close to cash, I mean a savings account, something you can literally go in, take the money out at any day, anytime, right? We need an emergency fund of a certain amount of months of our expenses in case something happens. Most notably, job loss, right? If you lose your job, how do you sustain your life so that this financial engine we call the retirement or investment vehicles, so it's not touched? How do you do that? You set aside a certain amount of money to live while you're trying to find your income, or replace your income if you lost your job, or if a large amount of bills were to come, from hospital bills to a litigation case, right? How can we take money and move to that so that our financial engine continues, or our investment engine continues, right? So how much do you need? The general um, teaching out there is between 3 and 6 months. And I tend to agree with it, right? You're going to veer closer to the 3 month if your household has a dual income, right? And we haven't talked about this, but if you have a dual income household, you should be living on one, right? That's just a general financial tip or rule. You should not be living on two incomes if you have two. If you have two, you should live on one. Then you can invest 15, 20, 25%, in your vehicle, then you can build wealth very quickly. Okay, but if you have two incomes, right? You need to you can veer closer to the 3 month, right? Because if one income goes away, you got another income that you can replace for the time being till that second income comes back. If you're a one income household, right, you need to veer closer to the 6, right? Now, this takes some time to build. As an example, if you have $3,000 worth of expenses, not spending money, gas for your car, light, water, electric, or light, water, rent slash mortgage, and groceries. That's pretty much your raw expenses and insurance, all your insurances. If you have, let's say it's $3,000 a month, 3 months would be $9,000 of an emergency fund. Meaning, if you lost your job today, you can go 3 months out without touching your investment vehicle, aka retirement accounts. Okay, 6 months would be $18,000 you would need to save to have 6 months of expenses, right? So that's how the math works. To save $18,000 may take some time, right? So what we want to do is, what we teach is we need to do this simultaneously with the 10%. Everything I'm talking about doing in terms of building a budget and starting to fund your emergency fund needs to happen on 90% of your income, because I want 10% all the time going into this investment vehicle, all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. You need to live on 90% of your income. There's a book, The Richest Man in Babylon. It really kind of paints the picture as a fable, but it's really easy to understand why we do this, right? So, kind of plug for The Richest Man in Babylon. But 10% always going to the investment vehicle. The remainder of the budget, we need to start putting money into the emergency fund, okay? Until it builds up to 3 to 6 months, right? And you talk to a financial coach. I can help you with it to determine where in that 3 to 6 month threshold you need to be, okay? That's one of the things that you have to have, right, in terms of building your financial future. The other is life insurance, okay? Why life insurance? Because we're talking about building financial futures for yourself and family, right? I'm talking about self and family. How do you build a financial future from your family? In our community, we don't do it as much, in that when we die, who replaces our income? In my household, I bring in income. If I die today, what does my wife and children do to replace my income, right? If there's no life insurance, they can't, right? My wife can go out and try to make more money, which she would do, but to replace it immediately, right, while going through that grieving process, you need what we call life insurance to do. Our counterparts do this, and it A, creates generational wealth. B, it keeps that financial engine going when catastrophic things happen, like like death, earlier than expected, right? So, life insurance, emergency fund. Notice what we're doing. We're building insurance mechanisms to our income. Okay, that's the concept that we're going through right now. Building insurance mechanisms so when things happen, and they always do, there's something in place to help mitigate what happened, right? That's what an emergency fund does. That's what insurance does. These are the things that we need need to make sure we have in place while we're building that investment income, right? So that's what we wanted to talk about today, just to hit on it. Now, as I go through the videos, I'm going to get into details on all of these things: emergency funds, insurance. We haven't talked about paying off debt quickly, right? All of these things, they're all for one purpose. Everything we're talking about is for one purpose: to make us millionaires, building financial wealth for ourselves and family. And then, and the reason we're building the financial wealth for ourselves and family is to be generous to ourselves, our family, and the community, so we can continue to build, right? That's the point. Everything we're talking about is geared towards that. Now, don't be afraid when I say budget to say, oh, I'm not going to have spending money. I'm not going to be able to have fun. One of the most important things in a budget to me, and when I help people build budgets, is spending money. is fun money. Entertainment money is what we call it in our household. That's the most important part, because if you don't have that, you're going to blow the budget, right? If you work every day, every day, every day, and you don't have any money to do anything, you either A, need to be laser focused in where you're going in the future, or B, you're going to blow the budget, right? So I try to teach people that you have to have that. So the budget is not necessarily going to be a curse word in your household. It's important and imperative to build to the future. Okay, so that's what I wanted to hit today. Let me know if you have questions. Hit me on the website if you want me to help you with some of these concepts, and we'll go through more of them individually and more in depth. All right, talk to you guys later. Peace.